I am inevitable.
What's up, guys? Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't catch you before then. And as you can see, I happen to snag myself the Marvel Select Thanos from the Disney store, but of course if you follow my Instagram you already knew I found him. Oh, and later in the video I'll show you how you can part swap him to make him look like a proper Endgame Thanos. Now when I first saw product shots of this dude, I was actually kind of iffy because he looked kind of out of proportion and a little bit off in my opinion, especially the blade. But then I saw him in person and I was like, yeah, I need him. And now that I have him, let's go and get this review started. Now, starting with the box front, we get the usual gigantic Marvel Select packaging, which works well this time for Thanos. You have nothing on the sides except for the one side that has the Avengers Endgame logo, which was upside down. Okay, there we go. And here's back with a glam shot that actually looks worse than the final product, which is kind of odd. Usually it's the other way around. And then the Lego Jumbo and the UPC. And there he is, guys, out of the package. And man, he is one massive figure. But he's incredibly detailed too. I think Diamond Select outdid themselves with this guy. So let's go and take a closer look. Now, starting with the head, the sculpt is incredible. Just look at all the detail that they put into it. It's just, wow. Very impressed with this guy. They really did a great job. But the most defining feature of the head is his face. Just look at that. Now that is a Thanos. Gone are the days of those silly looking Legends faces. This is the inevitable guy. Just look at that. The detailing, the weathering they added into the little grooves there, the eyes, and the helmet design is no slouch either. Just look at that gorgeous gold paint, and it looks like they might have added some battle damage to it. I don't know if it's just like, the deformation of the plastic or just, they actually sculpted in, but either way it works and it just looks great all the way around. Just look at that. Wow. I'm just very impressed with them already, and these are actually kind of sharp, so I mean they're not super sharp, but if you landed on it you might have a bad day. And moving into the body, the details are jaw-dropping. Just look at that sculpt. I mean, they definitely sculpted in battle damage. That is definitely just intentional right there. And they added the weathering, looks like some rust and all that. It's just very impressive. I'm just like speechless with this figure. They did such a great job. And that gold paint that they use is just gorgeous. They picked the perfect shade. It's not too shiny, but it's also not too flat. It gives it that perfect kind of armor look that's just like the movie, which is very just impressive. And it looks like they might have added a little bit of gloss to the black portions here because it's not the same shimmer as this portion right here, so that is another plus. Now, something I do want to note is that the weathering here, the little rust pieces, it's not a cookie cutter stamp on. Everyone's the same. They're actually different and they vary between figures. As you saw in my Instagram post, I saw 3 of them. Each one had more or less of the rust. So if you can pick one, that would be the best, because I mean mine, I liked it because it had more gold, less rust. Another one I saw had lots of rust and less gold, so it depends on your preference. And of course, going into the back, it looks equally awesome. Even the sides there, just look at the details. I mean, they didn't skimp anywhere. Same thing on this side, just lots of detail. More of that gold and then that weathering right there, and just his neck piece just looks insanely buff. Wow, I'm really just in awe of this figure. They did a great job. This is just the ultimate Thanos thus far. And taking a closer look at his arm, we get more of that awesome gold and lots of nice sculpting all the way around for his armor. Just look at that shimmer in the light. And then on the inside, you have his skin, which is actually weathered a little bit as well. You can see some of the kind of darker tones like dirt and stuff. There's a little blotch right there, but yeah, they really did a great job in attention to detail on this bad boy here. Although taking a closer look at his shoulder armor, you can see some plastic marring there, which is like probably when it just rolled around in the bin as they were assembling it. But considering that it's armor, you can just kind of take it as battle damage, so it's not too bad. And his other arm looks exactly the same as the other arm, except it's the other arm. Except this portion right here is a little bit bent, as you can see, but it's soft. You can kind of bend it out. This actually comes in handy because you can see right here, this portion's nice and straight, but it's also bendy. It comes in handy because when you jam on the red Endgame Gauntlet that I'll show later, this bendy portion definitely is a plus. And moving on down, his loincloth looks great as well, with very cleanly applied gold applications at the bottom tips there, which look great. And also it's very soft and bendy. You can see there the underlings, you see a little glue marring there, but man, so it does move out of the way when you try to articulate his legs, thankfully, as you can see. Not an issue. And the legs themselves continue that wondrous sculpt with that beautiful gold paint and then the battle damage that's been added into it, and then you got more of that rust right there, which just, man, it really just adds to the figure. Even his calves here just look fantastic. Just look at all that weathering and the paint, just everything. Now, I'm not sure if his feet were actually supposed to be all black. I never really noticed that in the movie, but considering the accuracy of everything else and the amazingness of it, I'm gonna say that this is probably accurate. Alright, now let's go and articulate this incredible Thanos. Now his head's on a double-sided dog bone ball joint there, giving them some decent range. His spin's in a circle as usual, and then it has that much sideways, and it can go up a little bit and down a little bit. That big neck piece really stops it. And his arm can only go that far forward and then that far back because it gets stuck on the armor. Now the armor is soft, as you can see, but it's not that soft, so it's not going to move out of the way when you move it. And the shoulder only goes that much because of the armor, but a plus is it's very flush. Check that out. When you see that there, and then when you move it all the way up, it fits nice and flush. It's a beautiful joint. And then his bicep, of course, spins in a circle, as well as his elbow joint, and it also does the whole 90-degree thing when you get the things back in alignment. Man, I just messed this up. There, 90 degrees. And his hand also spins in a circle and does the little forward, there we go, and back. It depends on where you line it up because it gets stuck on that armor piece right there. It doesn't really go, but then you go away from the armor piece and it goes further. And his torso is on a ball joint and spins in a circle, but it has minimal ranged movement. There's that much that way, that much that way, that much that way, and that much that way. Yeah, he barely moved. Yeah, minimal movement. Legs though, different story. They can go quite a bit forward and quite a bit back, as you can see, and it's pretty straight line too, thanks to this kind of soft loincloth there that gets out of the way. And the splits are solid too. He has a thigh swivel and a double jointed knee with limited range. Now, something I want to warn you about with the knee is this plastic here is actually quite soft, and if you look here, if you can kind of see how you see the gap there, it's pretty thin. When you go full extension right there, it is pressing up against that. Sometimes this top joint's really hard. If you use this as leverage to bend this, you could just tear right through that plastic. So that's definitely not something you want to do. So what you want to do is have that straight extended and bend that individually by itself, and that hits a stopper right there. And then kind of hold this and then bend it forward till it hits there. Otherwise you could tear through the top or the bottom, but this top part's a little bit thicker, so you probably will be safer. So just a warning there. And as for his feet, he has mega range forward, backwards, and spins. Alright, now let's get into accessories and start with the first one that no one asked for, and it's his blade. It's not really his blade. We all know that. I mean, it's not. Why is this side shorter than this? This is just the most inaccurate Thanos blade ever. I mean, if this was based on early concept, it must have been extremely early concept. So yeah, this is just bleh. Now alternately, you can use the Marvel Legends blade, or if you happen to have this Hero Vision one from Infinity War, his blade works just as well. You just take off these little Hero Vision stones right here, and now you have a blade that is far better and substantially more accurate than the one that this one comes with. Here he is holding the Hero Vision blade there, and as you can see, even though it's not completely accurate to the film because of the tips and the overall, you know, blade design, it's still a lot better because it's proportionate on each side, just like the film, and it looks great, and it's pretty good overall. Good alternative. Definitely looks better than this debacle. I mean, I don't even know what that is. It's probably better off as a butter knife. Oh yeah. And then you get his Infinity Gauntlet hand, which looks absolutely stunning. Just look at the detail, and then the weathering they added to it. They added kind of like a little reddish to give it kind of the darker bronze look, which looks awesome. Although there's a little chipping right there at the joint, but that's kind of to be expected when you have paint in a tight joint. But they did a great job sculpting it and just making it look accurate. And look at these stones here. The paint apps on them are pretty much spot. They look great and clean and sharp. A little bit of smudge right there, but other than that, it looks awesome. And installing that arm is pretty simple. You just pop this one off. I do recommend bending it first. Gives you a nice leverage, and then you just grab it and average, and then pops off. Super easy. That was no effort at all. Then you just take this and you pop that in, and bada bing, bada boom. He now has the gauntlet, and he is now the Infinity War Thanos. It's kind of a multi-use Thanos. He's both the Infinity War and Endgame Thanos at the same time, so it's pretty awesome. Alright, now let's go and do some comparisons first before I start ripping them apart to turn them into the end of Endgame Thanos. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends Black Order, minus Corvus Glaive. I probably should have grabbed him during Black Friday when it was like 20 bucks, but oh well, too late now. But man, look at the scaling of him. It's just perfect. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends Trifecta that took him down. And honestly, I think this Thanos makes the other figures look that much better. And here he is next to the Hero Vision Thanoses, the Loser Leg Legends Thanos, and the Figuarts Thanos. And honestly, they got nothing on this select Thanos. And here he is next to some Endgame basic figures, if that is your goal. And here he is next to some Black Series Mandalorian figures, because this show's awesome. Alright, now for the moment you've all been waiting for, let's go and transform him into the Endgame end of Endgame Thanos. Let's go and start with the parts list. First, you will need the Marvel Legends Mark 85 Endgame Iron Man so that you can have the Nano Gauntlet. And finally, you will need an Infinity War Legends Thanos. And that's it. Alright, let's go and take them apart. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is take the hand off. It's no particular order, it's just I chose to do this. Now this is an extremely tight joint and it's going to take some effort, so I'm going to do this off camera. Whew, okay, got it. And that took quite a bit of effort. Just look at my finger here. I got some callus because of that. It's just really tight joint. And oh, and word of warning, be careful where your elbow is pointed when you're doing this, because once it breaks free, whatever's in the path of your elbow is yeah. Alright, and finally we'll do the head. The way I like to do it is I like to turn his head around and then use that as a kind of leverage point and just kind of slowly finagle it forward. It's just a ball joint, but you just kind of finagle it a little bit, not too much, and then kind of get from the back as it starts to loosen up, and then pop, just like that, comes right off so much easier. As you can see, you got the hole there. It's got the double jointed ball, as you can see, the dog bone joint there. Alright, now we don't need Iron Man, we just need the Gauntlet, and as for Thanos, we're just gonna rip his head off just like so, and we don't need the body, we just need his head. Alright, now let's go and put them together. Now when it comes to the Nano Gauntlet, with the hand, it's almost like Diamond Select purposely did this because it fits just perfectly. Look at that, it actually holds in place and you can articulate it, so thank you. And even without the bottom portion of the gauntlet, it actually looks proportioned already, so that is a plus. But we're going to put the bottom portion of the gauntlet on now. Make sure you line it up. This is, of course, the early stage design version. That's the top. And as you can see, you just kind of jam that on right there. Just kind of finagle it. See this bendy part? That comes in handy, that it bends now. You just kind of jam that in there as deep as you want to go. It flexes nicely, and as you can see there, you got a pretty decent gap, but not too much. And then you finish it off with the hand. Just plop that in there like so, and voila. Look at that. It's like perfect, aside from the little, you know, gauntlet, gold gauntlet sticking out here. But yeah, there you go. Now let's get the head. Alright, now the first thing you're probably wondering is there's no peg to actually put it in, because you got to open a ball joint here and a ball joint here. But here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. Check this out. Boom, look at that. It's just, the whole neck is so perfectly just designed and has just enough squish that it's a perfect fit for the head, and it just holds on by friction. Just look at that. It's just, I feel like Diamond Select might have done this on purpose. You can even turn his head and it stays on. And if you want a really tight fit, you can really jam his head on like so, but then it kind of flares out his cheeks there, or his jawline, so that makes it a little awkward. Make it a little up like there, and yeah, you just turn his head wherever you need to, and it's just the best. And as for the hand articulation, you can kind of bend it, but if you try to bend it, it pops right out. But you can kind of pre-bend it and then kind of stick it in there like so, and it kind of holds in place. So now you got kind of a tilt there, or you can kind of go full straight like that, and of course you can rotate it just fine and it stays on, which is great. So yeah, there's just lots of I was speechless when I first tried this out, and it worked, and it seems like I still kind of am speechless. And aside from this one, because I got the original head, which is off color from this, I'm sure the new one with the 3-pack, you know, with Doctor Strange probably would match better, plus that face looks so much better too. But just look at that. This is hands down the only accurate armored Thanos from Endgame that we have. You kind of have to part mash it, but it's so easy to part mash. It's like you don't have to custom mold or cut anything. You just literally jam some parts on, and bada bing, bada boom, you got end of Endgame Thanos. And that is what makes him the ultimate Thanos. Well guys, overall, as you could probably tell already, I am thoroughly impressed, astounded, and satisfied with this figure. I have a tingling feeling that Diamond Select may have engineered this on purpose. Now, like I said, he's a Disney Store exclusive and he's currently in stock now, but he did sell out the first time he was posted, so get one while you can. And as always, thanks for watching and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. But otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.